what is your journey that brought you to this moment of deciding to run for Congress?
Yeah, well, definitely. Like I said, for as long as I can remember when I was a kid, I wanted to be a starving artist. Like that was living in New York City, living in Brooklyn, doing art. I was like, I gotta work in like the food industry. I gotta work in hospitality, and I'm gonna be like a starving artist. And I'm gonna make art at night, and I'm gonna work in service in the day, and just always work in service for the people. That's something that I've always I love doing. I've always wanted to pursue that. I've never really done anything outside of that. Every job that I've had has been a service job of some sort. Whether it was when I was a carny back in the day and I used to travel the East Coast of the United States with the carnival, literally working amusement rides, and that was such a good time in my life. Or I used to work at a catering hall doing five-star Italian weddings out here in
Mhm.
Brooklyn as well. Um, and even just doing stuff like that, I've worked on several different food trucks. I've done catering events for all types of things. And that's just really kind of been my overall focus. Even when I did event photography, when I was working in nightlife, I got into that because I was watching other event photographers. I was looking at their photos and I was like, people just look drunk, they look a mess, they look sweaty. And I knew that I could make the community, and specifically, I worked in LGBT nightlife.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I wanted to make people look beautiful, and I would Photoshop with my photos, and I would edit sweat off of them. I would fix like girls' makeup. I would make people
Oh,
look beautiful in these settings when they were just having fun and letting, and that to me was another way of servicing the community. And that's just kind of like been my journey. I will say I'm not the greatest with academics. I ended up dropping out of high school. And a lot of this was because I put work first.
mm,
Somebody, I grew up in poverty. I live in poverty. I've always had to put work ahead of my own education at most times.
mhm,
But I dropped out of high school. Uh, I ended up getting my GED back in like 2013, like right at the time where they were like changing the way the test was. I was like,
mhm.
oh, this is the moment. I have to get it now before they do this. I was like, I don't know what's going to be on that next version of the test, but this is it. I got to get it done. And I ended up, I passed. I got my GED. And again, I went back into, I wanted to go to school. I wanted to go to college and get a degree, and I never did. I went back to work, and I kind of had to, we got to survive. We have to
Mhm.
work. That's kind of just the system,
Yeah,
unfortunately. Something
That's
that
the
we can't.
millennial plight,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
That's we're stuck with work, and it holds us back from being our true selves, right?
Yeah.
And then finally the pandemic happened in 2020, and instead of sitting home when my job closed, instead of sitting home, I ended up going back to school and actually getting my degree. And through those years, from getting my GED to the pandemic happening from 2013 to 2020, I had found a love for accounting. And through working in the restaurant industry, front of house, back of house, um, doing like some managerial tasks, I fell in love with the process of accounting, and I wanted to learn it more. And I've always, for years, I was like, I really want to get a degree. I really want to go to restaurants and get into the office and really help them thrive with my knowledge of front of house, with my knowledge of back of house, going into the office and then just being able to help restaurants really thrive to their fullest was something that I really wanted to do. So I ended up during the pandemic, instead of sitting at home doing absolutely nothing, I enrolled in school, and literally the process happened so fast. Like it was like August, I was like, I should do this. Like I have the time now. And then like September, I was like in classes. Um and and
Wow.
and yeah, and I got my associate's degree, 2 years.
Okay.
Then I went and I got my bachelor's degree. I did my bachelor's in public accounting, business management, and finance. Um, then another 2 years, and then I did my master's degree. I was like, I got accepted into this program, and I was like, it was like a one more year, and I only needed a certain amount of credits, and I was like, I could actually have a master's degree. Like, who would have ever thought? And I did. I ended up getting my MBA, my master's in business administration.
Good for
Um,
you.
in 5 years, I did it in 5 years. But
That's
those 5 years were
incredible.